Welcome to Sharpen Your Five Senses of Leadership Etiquette. My name is Tia Young, and I'm the founder of Tia Young Image and Etiquette. I help my clients learn the soft skills for success through professional development and etiquette training. And today I want to share about leadership etiquette. I have a quick question for you. Are you a leader? I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about that. Leadership is more about how you interact with other people and not necessarily your title. When I think about leadership, I think about sometimes the title, which can be CEO, manager, supervisor, but also a leader is a mom, a dad, a teacher, a police officer, and many other things. So I want to share and combine that leadership role with etiquette because there are certain things that we should be doing as leaders and using good etiquette skills at the same time. Let me start with the definition of what a leader is, and that is a person who leads or commands a group, organization, or country. Leadership is the action of leading a group of people or an organization. And the definition of etiquette is the customary code of polite behavior in society among members of a particular profession or group. So I want to use the five senses to make my point known. Do you remember what the five senses are? Five senses of every human. Let's recall those five senses. And I'll pull up my screen as I do that. Sharpen your five senses of leadership etiquette. The five senses, as you can see on these pictures here: see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Which one is your favorite? Most of us might be thinking about taste because I love to eat tasty things, of course, and I'm sure you do too. But sight also is one of my favorites. All right, so let's break them down a little bit more. We have taste, create your signature flavor for success. As you see, I put a twist on the five senses. Then touch, learn the golden touch to win more customers. Hear, trigger active listening through skillful engagement. See, show up and be seen as a credible leader. And smell, leave a fragrant smell of success lingering in the atmosphere. Leave a fragrant smell. That's kind of a tongue twister there. Lingering in the atmosphere. And that picture there, if you can see, is a picture of me that my daughter drew of me, my avatar. So we're going to break these down in a little bit more detail. Let's start with create your signature flavor for success. When I think of flavor, most of the time I think of eating, but some people have a particular flavor about them. And we're going to focus on appearance, body language, and personal style. Appearance. How do we see you? We'll talk more about seeing shortly, but what flavor do you have? What kind of style do you have? How do you carry yourself in your body language? For your appearance, I love the quote that says, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And it's very true. When we see you for the first time, we're already judging who we think you are, even though we really don't know yet. And then comes the body language. Body language. How do you carry yourself? You know, I did a little modeling here and there, and I was also an instructor at Barbizon Modeling School and Acting School years ago. And I taught modeling, and I still try to carry myself in a way that I have great poise and posture. And people tell me that at times, were you a model or are you a model? Now, that's been years and pounds ago, but yes, I was. And I still try to carry myself in a way of a young lady. Body language is very important. Slouching is not very good. Leaning on things is not very good. And just looking like you're bored, looking at your watch and things like that. Those things say you're not interested. So we want to have a positive body language to make that overall appearance positive. Personal style. When you think of someone with great personal style, who's the first person that comes to mind? I love Michelle Obama, just always classy. You will never see her, at least not out in public, which is what we're talking about. At home, you can do whatever you want. When you go out in public, even if you're running to the grocery store, if you have a certain image to uphold, you don't want to go out with your house slippers on and pajamas. Even though COVID has kept us kind of more relaxed, we want to make sure when we go out to represent ourselves, even though we're not working at the time, we want to make sure we look our best at all times. So personal style is very important. People tell me sometimes when I take pictures, I have my signature pose, and I do. And most of us has something about us that we do or wear a certain style that makes us us. And that's one of the things that people tell me. And actually, once you on social media, just last month I did an exercise where I asked people on social media to tell me what do they know me as, not necessarily my job, but how do I represent myself? And I received a lot of wonderful feedback. For instance, poised, good manners, miss etiquette, phenomenal woman. And it really, really made me feel good that I have a personal style that they think is elegant. So if you did that and people start responding on who you are, what would they say? And you want it to be positive. If it's not as positive as you want it to be, then you know there's a little bit of work to do. So create your signature flavor for success, and that's your overall appearance. When we look at you, we shouldn't see just one thing that points out, but an overall package of excellence, including the appearance, body language, and personal style. Let's move on to the next of the five senses. Learn the golden touch to win more customers. We're going to focus on feeling, attention, and respect. And as you see, this these two hands shaking there have a lot of words on there that are the golden touch. Cooperate, connect, connection, that handshake. If you're feel safe shaking hands because of COVID, you don't want germs to spread. If not, you might have to do a bow or a curtsy or something to show that you're greeting someone else if you don't feel comfortable shaking hands. But I love the quote, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So that's the feeling that's on the inside. Touch on the outside is not as important as on the inside. Have you touched their heart? Have you touched their mind with this golden touch that I'm talking about? And these are terms that I'm just using for the five senses, but you're feeling the way you make them feel. Sometimes you're around somebody and you get a positive vibe around them, and other times you don't. And it's your gut feeling. And we want to always have a positive one if possible. But sometimes, it can help us in certain situations because you don't want to be around someone that might hurt you in any way. Now, attention. Are you paying attention to the people that you're around? Golden touch. Attention wise, meaning you're focused and you're not multitasking. You're giving them eye contact and you're paying full attention and you're not thinking about what you're going to say next when they're talking, but you're actually listening and responding to what they're saying. So paying full attention, not multitasking, and not trying to think of what you're going to do next to get away from that person. Give them that respect to listen. They'll definitely appreciate that. And respect. Aretha Franklin had the song RESPECT. Everyone wants to be respected. Everyone wants to be respected. You and I. So you have to give it in order to receive it. Always respect other people, be courteous and considerate at all times. Look at things like holding open the door if you're walking through and it's a push door. Hold it for the person that might be a step or two behind you. If they're by, a few minutes behind you, of course, you don't hold the door that long. But if you see them coming a few steps behind you, then you hold that door. Even also at the grocery store, I'm using grocery store as an example quite a bit, but putting the grocery cart back and little things like that, being courteous. People are always watching what you do as a leader, so we want to make sure we're not speeding in the car when somebody's behind you. You're not running the red light. Like I said, as a leader, we're held to a higher standard. So we have to make sure what we're doing is going to be respectful at all times. The third sense, trigger active listening through skillful engagements. You know, when I went to college, I attended the University of Florida in Gainesville, and I was a communications major. And one of the things that I always remembered, which struck me, was words only are 7%. That little pie chart there, words only are 7% of the conversation. People hear the words, but they look more at your body language and your tone of voice, because you can say the same words and it means completely different things depending on how you're holding your body and the tone of voice that you're using. For example, someone might ask you, how are you doing today? If you're in an upbeat voice, it'll be, oh, I'm fine. How are you? With a smile on your face. Sometimes it might be somebody asks, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? Completely different, same words, completely different definition, because people are going to listen to that tone and that body language. So always keep that in mind when you're talking. Words don't matter as much as the other things. 7% tone of voice is 38%, and body language is 55%. Eye contact, like I mentioned earlier, give people your full attention. Look them in the eyes when you're talking to them. If it's Zoom, you have to kind of look at the camera um, on your laptop, phone, whatever you may be using, to show that you're looking at them. Even though on a Zoom screen, you might be looking at the different boxes of faces and scrolling through, people can see that. They can see when your eyes are darting, or they can see when you've gone off to another page and are looking at that, because the light flashes differently in your face when you change screens. So they can see your eyes moving, they can see the screen changing colors in your face. So make sure you're paying attention. And while I'm speaking about Zoom, also think about your background. I take a lot of care in thinking about not only what I'm wearing personally, making sure my hair, makeup, and my outfit looks nice, but also my background looks nice. I have an airplane there. I'm a former international flight attendant with United Airlines. Flew for 14 years and was also a trainer, which there I was a leader also from the airlines. And I'll show a picture in just a second from those fun days of traveling. But eye contact is very, very important, especially to show that you're listening. And remember what? Remember names. It's so important. People want to hear their name at least 3 times in the conversation. It makes them feel special. Even on Zoom, if you call out different names um, and ask them a question, they'll feel a little bit more special. So always try to remember names, use it 2 or 3 times in the conversation. And then when you see them again, call them by their name. They will feel great that you remembered their name. And there's also tricks about how to do that. Show up and be seen as a credible leader. Credibility goes a long way. Credibility, show up in social media. This picture here I was sharing about being a flight attendant. 4 of us were trainers.